Joining us now, Hogan Gidley, Press Secretary, Trump-Pence 2020 campaign, senior spokesperson, formerly at the White House. Hogan, great to have you.
It's great to be with you. Thanks so much for having me on.
Hogan, I'm excited now that you're on the campaign side because now we can talk politics. See, before we couldn't do it because of the separations there, but now we can talk politics, polling. I'm fired up today. The new Rasmussen poll, the most accurate pollster in 2016, comes out with a new poll. Biden, Trump tied, Trump surging. We haven't even gotten the bump from the convention. Biden's convention, he went back, hit a backwards bump. I've never seen that. I've been covering this for 40 years. I've never seen a presidential campaign have a convention. They go south, they go backwards. Trump pulled even. His approval rating, according to Rasmussen, now the same place Obama's was on the same date of his reelection in 2012. Some polls showing us getting 12-15% of the African-American vote. Everything moving in our direction. I think it's jobs, not mobs, civilization, not chaos, and law and order, not looting. These are the issues. From your vantage point, Hogan, right now, what is happening? Why this seat change now in the polls?
Well, look, again, we weren't really believing those polls for a long time, so I don't want to go all in on these polls. I will say we think we're in really good shape, and one of the reasons we're in good shape is because elections are about choices. And what you saw for 4 days with those Democrats, basically two themes. One is they don't like Trump. Okay, yeah, we got that. Not with no surprises there. And two is Joe Biden's a nice guy. Look, John, you're a nice guy too. I don't know that I want you sitting behind the Resolute desk. No offense. My granddad's a nice guy. Don't know that I want him sitting behind the Resolute desk either. I know a lot of nice guys that I don't necessarily leading the free world, although you do a heck of a lot better job than Joe Biden. The fact is, they painted such a dark, grim picture of this country. That they told the American people that America is inherently evil and that we are the cause of the world's problems. That's just a lie. America is the greatest country, the greatest idea ever realized. We are a beacon of hope, of strength, of compassion all across this planet. And when you saw our convention kick off compared to theirs, my gosh, you saw a stark difference of a party, of a president that loves this nation. He understands we've had difficulties in our past. He understands we're facing a tough time with coronavirus. But his message is, together we can get through it. We have a unifying, uplifting, patriotic ideology. Theirs, on the Democrat side, is about, allowing this death and destruction to continue in our city streets and our towns and not say a word about it. I mean, we're just in such a better place now than we were in the past, and Democrats continue to try and divide. They continue to try and stoke fear and hatred. And that's just not the Republican Party. I think the American people see that, and they're not buying what the Democrats are selling.
Well, look, it started off. I thought starting it off Monday with Cardinal James Dolan in New York in front of the Statue of Liberty, looking up to the heavens and praying. I really thought that just set the tone for the whole thing. Because the Democrats basically kicked God out of their convention. I guess they have certain constituent bases that don't like God, or they're atheist, or whatever it is, whatever their deal is. I don't really know. I don't want anything to do with it. But I thought that kicked it off. And then night one was just hope and inspiration, and it was positive and a positive. And you felt good about yourself. You felt good about your country, about the future. You juxtapose that, as you said, to the Democrat convention, which was just dark and miserable and disturbing, everybody behind masks, and we're all going to die from coronavirus, and it was just horrible. And I think that's why it went backwards. I tell you, I've never seen in my lifetime a convention and it's over and the standard bearer goes backwards. Normally they get some bounce, and if they only get like 2 or 3, it's a disaster. Biden went 5 south.
Well, usually in most conventional years, what you also see is, you tacked out to the edges of your party to try and work to get the nomination. Then you go back to the middle. Joe Biden's done the exact opposite. He's been gradually moving left and left and left and left. And then when he gets the nomination and picks the most radical senator in all of Congress, even more than Bernie Sanders, the radical takeover of Joe Biden and that party is now complete. And when you saw that daytime programming that Democrats put forward, where you heard things like not defund the police, but abolish the police, and if you don't open our borders, you're going straight to hell, and we've got to take over the Second Amendment. We can't allow Americans to keep and bear arms. Those are the types, we got to end capitalism. Those are the types of things the Democrat Party was talking about during the day. Now, they didn't let them out in prime time, but that's what they're about. Look, Joe Biden may be the face of the party right now, but the heart and soul are the Rashida Tlaibs, the Ilhan Omars, the Linda Sarsours, who are rabid, open anti-Semites. They let them speak, then apologize for it, and then had to call and apologize for the apology and say, no, we really didn't mean it. That's the type of party they've become, and I just think the American people writ large are going to reject that every single day.
They're really boxed in. I was saying this earlier, Hogan, the Democrats are really boxed in. That's why I'm saying right now Trump is going to win, and he's going to win bigger, because they're boxed in. They're protesters, which are turned into rioters and looters. That's part of their base. They can't offend them. That's why they haven't called them out. So they're stuck there. That's basically their ground game, I guess. They can't get the graffiti wiped off the streets and the buildings in Richmond and Washington, D.C., because that's their base. They don't want to offend the graffiti writers putting the F word up all over the place, so they can't wash that down. They don't want to offend them. I mean, it goes on and on and on. Now you've got anti-Semites who are speaking at major conventions. They apologize, and then, like you say, the apology behind the scenes because they can't offend that. They've seemed to piece together all these whacked constituencies that their only pathway to victory is they all come together, but it's not sustainable. And, average people are looking at this and saying, what has this party become? I have no idea what Joe Biden's going to do as president, or Kamala Harris. I have no idea what his agenda is. All I know is two things. He said he's going to raise taxes, and he's going to mandate federal masks for at least 3 months, which means it could go on forever. That's the only two policies I know. Neither of them to me make any sense. So I think you guys are in really good shape. What do you look for tonight?
Look, I think tonight, obviously, there's a culmination there of 3.5 years of hard work for the American people, of results that they can see and actually feel in their lives from a positive sense. The economy the president built, he's in the middle of rebuilding it again. And as you said, the notion from Joe Biden that we're going to tack on, $4 trillion in taxes, as we're trying to get out of this hole we found ourselves in because of the coronavirus is just ludicrous. I think you're going to see another uplifting set of speakers. I mean, look, the theme, as you know, is about America's greatness, but we've had the land of opportunity, the land of promise, the land of heroes. Tonight, we're going to focus on the land of greatness, and we have a great setup of speakers. And the president is going to end the night, with a raucous presentation to the American people. It's going to be substantive. I mean, look, the Democrats had a nominee who's been in office for half of a century, and I can't tell you a single accomplishment he had after watching their convention. I can't tell you a single thing they want to do moving forward. It took them 2 hours just to mention the guy's name the opening night because they know he's got nothing. So you're going to see a much different finish to the week than they had over at the Joe Biden campaign and the Democrat convention. So I'm looking forward to what the president's going to bring to the table tonight. Again, anytime he speaks directly to the American people,
right,
without the filter of the mainstream media, they hate it because they know it resonates.
Let's just talk for a second about the Hatch Act and his speech. I'm going to be there tonight. I got invited. I'm delegation chairman for Trump of Virginia, so I got invited there. It's an honor, no doubt. You're on the John Fredericks Radio Network. We're with Hogan Gidley. Hogan is spokesperson and press secretary. Trump Pence 2020 spent the last 4 years in the White House in communications. Was on our show a lot. Now we can talk politics. Hogan, the Democrats are screaming and saying that having the president give a speech from the White House is a violation of the Hatch Act, which means that government employees can't get involved in politics, and they're saying that staff will be involved, and so it's a clear violation. There's a lawsuit being filed. How have you guys responded to that? How has the campaign responded to that?
Well, first of all, I don't remember the media being upset anytime Joe Biden has a television advertisement where he's using video of his time in his official capacity in the White House as vice president, number one. Number two, the outrage that Mike Pompeo spoke, for example, from Israel, and the Democrats had, I think, 5 or 6 of their cabinet secretaries speak at Obama's convention. So that again is the selective outrage, but the universal bias that we have to deal with every single day. It's my understanding there is no staff from the White House working on this. It's all the campaign building this out. There are obviously places at the White House you can conduct political events. And I don't remember any outrage when Bill Clinton was actually raising money in the
Lincoln
White
bedroom
House either.
when he was selling the Lincoln bedroom, right? Kind of amazing,
right? Which is completely.
The campaign's position basically is that there's no violation of the Hatch Act.
We're not breaking any laws here, and they know it. They're just trying to make hay. Because, look, if the president's taken Air Force One and gone somewhere, they say, wow, he's using Air Force One for political reasons. Wow, he's creating some super spreader coronavirus event by leaving the White House. So he says, all right, we're going to stay at the White House. And they're like, no, you can't do that because that's just political. It's like it doesn't matter what he does. It doesn't matter what he's for, they're against it. It doesn't matter what he's against, they're for it. Because they just have to be on the opposite side of Donald Trump. It's so transparent and so weak.
You said something earlier about Joe Biden. I want to run a clip here for you. One of my favorite people, Richard Grinnell, last night at the convention, say, hey, why did Joe Biden try any of his new ideas over the last 50 years? This is pretty funny. Cut 8, Richard Grinnell.
Joe Biden was first elected to the Senate in 1972, 48 years ago. Well, it's actually the typical Washington story. Just this year, 22 Democrats ran for president. They rejected all of the outsiders and nominated the ultimate Washington insider, someone they had to pull out of retirement. Every time Joe Biden offers a new idea, you should ask yourself, why didn't he try that over the last 48 years?
I mean, that's exactly what you said earlier. Like, he's been there for 50 years. Like, why has he done any of these things?
That was such a great moment. I laughed out loud when I heard that in my office, and we all kind of cheered at the comment. And, it's so funny. He says things like, we can fix coronavirus. Why are you waiting? If you have the answer, if you have the anecdote, why don't you tell the antidote to what it is, the vaccine? Tell us what it is. He doesn't. He has no policy prescriptions that are going to fix the issues that this country faces. We're putting forth actual information, actual data of how we can get past certain issues in our day. Joe Biden's got nothing, and that was the point of what Rick said last night. It was so good. Where's he been this whole time? They try to pin Donald Trump for all of these issues. He's been there 3 years. Some of the stuff they're arguing about has been going on for decades and decades and decades when Joe Biden actually held a position of power. It's almost as if they're looking around going, I wish Joe Biden had actually been elected to office at some point in life and he could really effectuate some change here. It's like, what are you talking about? He's been there for 47 years. He's got nothing to show for it. Everyone knows it. It's sad. But look, this is what they've decided to go with, and they went with him because he's an empty vessel. They went with him because they could corrupt him now and say, all right, this is all about the left. Let's move everybody to the radical agenda items. And Joe Biden has willingly embraced all these things. Now he's running on them. And I just can't imagine. We know it's bad for the country. I just can't imagine the American people are going to vote for that.
what you just said, Hogan Gidley, is true. Where has he been? And if he had an answer, why not implement it now or just share it with us? So if he's got the antidote or he's got something up his sleeve, he's not really said what he's going to do other than he's going to mandate masks. So if you're going fishing in Montana, fly fishing, you got to have a mask on or you get a $500 fine, I guess.
He made the announcement with no mask, I might add.
He made the announcement without a mask. I mean, it's almost comical. And now they're stuck because they really can't get him out of the basement. Like I got an email today from the Warner campaign running for re-election in Virginia, Senator Mark Warner. And he says, I'm going to be traveling around Virginia. Here's my schedule. And I'm going to be social distancing in all of our meetings. That was the big headline. I'm doing these events in Virginia, but I'm going to be social distancing and everybody's going to have a mask on, 6 feet apart. We're going to fly by the rule. And that was 3/4 of the email I got. It's like, I'm not going to that. I could care less about what. But that was like they're stuck on it. It's like, well, I'm going to do some events, but here I'm going to spend 3/4 of my announcement assuring my Democratic base that everything will be social distance and everybody will have a mask on and everything will have barriers up and so you can come out, but we can only have 10 people. I mean, why bother? He might as well stay in Washington for all I care.
Everybody in this country is trying to figure out a way. Okay, fine. We're listening to the doctors. We're going to get out. We're going to live our lives. We're going to figure out how to do it safely. The only person who's not coming out and not living their life and not seeing the light of day is the person running for president of the United States on the Democrat ticket. Have you noticed that? There was a scathing article I read the other day from Democrats kind of saying, I don't think Joe Biden can keep this up. And someone made the point. He's the only single politician, the only single person in this country who basically is like, no, I'm not going outside.
Yeah, you got to stay home in my basement. All right, I got to play. I've only got 2 minutes, but I have to play 1 minute clip here from Mike Pence, cut 6, on what you said earlier about the leftist agenda. He said Joe Biden would be nothing more than a Trojan horse for the radical left speech. I think get your reaction to it, Kiera, with Hogan Gidley, cut 6.
When you consider their agenda, it's clear. Joe Biden would be nothing more than a Trojan horse for the radical left. The choice in this election has never been clearer, and the stakes have never been higher. Last week, Joe Biden said democracy's on the ballot. And the truth is, our economic recovery is on the ballot. Law and order are on the ballot. But so are things far more fundamental and foundational to our country. In this election, it's not so much whether America will be more conservative or more liberal, more Republican or more Democrat. The choice in this election is whether America remains America. It's whether we will leave to our children and our grandchildren a country grounded in our highest ideals of freedom, free markets, and the unalienable right to life and liberty, or whether we will leave them a country that's fundamentally transformed into something else.
Excellent. Reaction.
I mean, how good is our vice president? How strong is he? And the message he put forth last night, saying we are not going to apologize anymore for America. We saw that for 8 years with Barack Obama and Joe Biden. And Joe Biden is all about America's fault. Donald Trump is about America first. And you have seen that with the policies he's enacted. You've seen Mike Pence give an incredible speech last night, reminding you, the American people, what's at stake. I thought Mr. Henderson, the gentleman who participated in the sit-ins in the 60s, in Greensboro, gave an incredible presentation as well.
Yeah, he was great.
Of just what's at stake. You talked about Max Alvarez from the other night, talking about he's seen these ideas from the left before. He's seen these policies when he was in Cuba, when he escaped Castro. He said his friends died because of them, these empty promises. He started welling up with tears. What an incredible presentation to remind everyone this is what's at stake. This is how great we are. This is how far we've come. And in the last 4 years, this president has turned this entire country into a beacon of prosperity, of peace all over this world. And we can do so much more if we're reelected. And if you choose Joe Biden, you're going not just backwards. You're not just reversing all the gains. You're taking us into a place of absolute danger. And you see it in our city streets. These are controlled by all Democrats. And yet at the Democrat convention, they didn't say one word about the rioting, the looting, the death, the destruction. Didn't say anything about it. They're all Democrat-controlled cities. You think they'd offer one tidbit on how to prevent people from getting kicked unconscious in the middle of the streets, as you've seen all these videos going around? They can't. They can't offer any solutions there because they like the chaos, because the chaos benefits them politically. Mike Pence called that out last night. We're going to have more speakers calling it out today, and the president is going to absolutely put an exclamation point on America's greatness tonight.
All right. Well, we'll be there. I'll be there live at the White House for that. I got the invitation, and I am very honored to be there, and I'll be there firsthand. But Hogan Gidley with us. I want to thank you, Hogan. Always great to have you on, and hopefully there'll be college football in the fall, and we'll get to watch your Ole Miss Rebs. Hogan Gidley, thanks. Thanks for being with us.